A natural byproduct of working with wood is making shavings. And in this case, what I'm going to do is set my shavings aside. How's that for alliteration? And I'm going to use them for another application here. In fact, I'm going to use them to make fire starters. This is a fire starter right here. What we've got is shavings, wax, egg carton. Boy, do these babies work. They really work well for getting a fire going. So here's the deal. I prefer shavings that come from soft woods like pine and cedar because they're nice and long and curly. And shavings that come out of the planer from hardwoods, they tend to be a little bit smaller and not quite as nice to work with for this. They'll still do it, but I like pine and cedar better. You need an egg carton that is the cardboard kind, not the foam kind. So what I'm doing here is I'm packing and packing and packing to get the shavings really nice and tight down in each of those cells where the eggs used to live. Next thing we need to do is pour something on here to hold everything together. So what I'm going to use for that is wax, and you can do this a couple different ways. What I've done here is I've gone to the store and actually bought wax, and this is sold at a place where they sell a lot of canning supplies. And you can also, as an alternative, go to craft stores. You can also just save stubby candles as they get too small to burn. Sit on those for a while. Well, not sit on them, keep them for a while. Put them in a bag, save them like you do your shavings, and then they'll be ready for this process. I took the wax and I put it in a double boiler. So water in here, can up here. The wax is nicely melted. So we're ready to go for the pouring step. And now what I want to do is get each of these cells wet with wax. When this is done, I really want to not have any dry shavings. And it's a little bit sloppy. That's why I've got this piece of particle board laying on top of my bench. I don't mind getting wax on there. I don't really want to get wax all over my bench, although I do sometimes wax philosophic. I don't want to wax my bench top. That looks pretty good. Now, in time, that's going to solidify and look like this. When we want this as a fire starter, we want just individual cells. We don't want this whole thing, although, boy, would that work great, but we don't need to use that much to get a fire going. So I'm going to come here to the bandsaw in order to cut these apart. Realistically, I guess the bandsaw is overkill as a way to cut these apart. However, I do like that it leaves them in a nice, neat cube. The alternative is to just grab that carton and tear it, and that'll still work. But I like the neatness I get from using the bandsaw. It's going to leave a little bit of residue on your blade and a little bit of residue on the tire of the bandsaw, but that'll clean right off, and it's really not a big deal. So, great way to use a natural byproduct of woodworking, all of these shavings, and make fire starters for you or for your friends who, I'm telling you, are going to think this is one hot gift to get from you.